There is a man with just $25,000 and a bloody knife who is home right now, who has murdered a member of this community in Frisco, Texas. For 2 weeks, his blood has been on those bleachers.
And I do want to say that if you have a child that's being bullied, or you have a child that's going through something, call Dominique. I ain't gonna say call Bishop.
The Anthony family, the wonderful Anthony family that raised this murderer, did such a wonderful job. This defender, right, of liberty, this new Rosa Parks for 2025, as you call him. They put a GoFundMe up for $100,000. It didn't get taken down. The moment, minutes after it got the $100,000, they jacked it up for more money because it's all just a con.
George Zimmerman raised $1 million that was donated to him after killing Trayvon Martin. Kyle Rittenhouse, after he killed 2 people in cold blood, he raised over $1 million. Wait a minute. The officer who killed Michael Brown, he raised almost $2 million. So don't tell me that when black folks decide to put money and support behind a young brother who didn't start a fight, who didn't threaten nobody, who was sitting where he could have right to be sitting, was threatened more than one time, was physically attacked, he defends himself, and then all of a sudden he's in jail for murder. But guess what, brother? We gonna stand behind ours like you white folks stand behind yours.
Okay, let me
that
be
young
clear.
brother was attacked.
I know you're yelling because you really get worked up when you're lying. But let me say, let me say very clear.
But then it's justified.
Us killing
but when we defend ourselves,
now,
it's murder.
Let's hell with that. I read it.
Now,
I'm not finished. You can yell. I can yell too. No, you interrupted me.
You opening your mouth to me like that. Don't frighten me.
Was it a violation of school policy to come to the track meet armed with a deadly weapon?
So now,
yes or no?
Wait a minute.
Yes or no?
It was that
yes
kind of knife.
Yes or no?
It was that kind of knife.
Yes or no?
It was not that kind of knife.
Well, what kind of knife was it?
That's the lie being told.
No.
It was not no butcher knife, no kitchen knife. It wasn't no buck knife. It wasn't that kind of knife.
What kind of knife was it?
See, I'm going to be quiet right now. It's going to come out.
Oh,
those knives that he used were the same ones they used to help put them tents up.
Okay, so he was armed with a knife.
Everybody, a lot of kids had those knives putting those tents up. It's a custom knife that they used to put those tents up. He didn't bring no weapon like that.
Are you allowed to carry a knife at school?
Charles, it was not that type of weapon.
Okay, was it a knife
at all,
or not?
Charles? It was something that they used to help erect tents.
Okay.
We were all waiting to hear the Anthony family talk for the first time on the record. It was supposed to start at 11. 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
He was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it.
Karmelo Anthony's charged with murder in his son's death at a track meet in Frisco on April 2nd. Jeff Metcalf said nothing. He just stood and waited. The group hosting this told him to leave, or they'd call Dallas police. The group's founder, Dominique Alexander, made this statement.
Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
Jeff Metcalf was escorted out by DPD before the family arrived to speak. Ultimately, it was not a court order that made him leave, but because the owner of the building said he was trespassing. Metcalf shook hands with officers and then left. This press conference was about hearing from Karmelo's mom, Kayla Hayes, and we finally did.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you.
The family says they've endured threats, lies, and racial harassment over the last 2 weeks.
Our family has been under attack.
Mostly over a fundraising page they say they haven't been able to access until Wednesday. They're fighting claims they're profiting off of this or living lavishly from the funds raised.
We have endured death threats. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family.
We've asked for comment from Jeff Metcalf. He told us not to quote him. We're also told this will be the last time we hear from the Anthony family before a possible trial. But that will not stop all the talk from the outside and any more surprises that have come with this case.
You shot great, but you shot late. High 11. This is the Rundown Podcast.
I'm gonna give you the rundown.
Say man, hey man, it's OG Jucario. Now I'm back at you with another one. And previously on the Rundown Podcast, headed back to Frisco, Texas, where the deadly Texas track meet tragedy took place between Austin Metcalf, who's now deceased, 17-year-old athlete there from Memorial High School. Right? Rest in peace to Austin. And we have the other teenager, both of them is 17. We have Karmelo Anthony, right? He's getting ready to graduate. Now, Austin was a junior. Karmelo is now a senior. So, you know, with this whole situation occurring, you know, both of these guys, you know, athletes for both of their schools, Karmelo attending Centennial High School. Okay, this tragedy happens where people are saying, well, why come Karmelo was under the tent of Austin's Memorial High School? Why was he under the Memorial High School tent? Well, they're saying it was raining, you guys. You know, he wanted to keep dry, right? He wanted to dodge the rain, and, you know, till this whole thunderstorm blew over that was going on that day of the track meet. Now, one of the main things that people wanted to know is, why did Karmelo have a knife? You know, that's what they keep asking. That's what, you know, is the repetitive question that's being asked. Well, his lawyer said that right there will be exposed. That will come out in court. You know, we can't give y'all all the specifics right now. And even if it was a knife, you know, like the police report stated, it was a black knife that was found, you know, that was thrown into the bleachers, okay? But we're hearing other reports, as, you know, Cornell X said, that it might have been a tent stake that, you know, this object was used as a weapon, allegedly, okay? Now, why are we hearing that it's a different object now that was used besides an actual knife? Okay, who knows? But that's a discrepancy in there. Now we're hearing, you know, it's another narrative out there that just arose saying it was a cleat sharpener. So, you know, all these different narratives and different, you know, things that's being said now versus, you know, what's already put in the police report that's not reflecting. The police report is saying it was a knife. So, you know, all this is very interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see. They say they have video of the incident. Several videos have been collected, is what they said. And, you know, this Dominique Alexander, the activist, he was being labeled as the lawyer. The black guy, you know, Dominique Alexander, he's not the lawyer. I still see a lot of people getting that wrong. He is not the lawyer. He is the activist, okay? Now, the lawyer is somebody totally different, okay? Now, if you watch the press conference about this whole matter, it showed the lawyer actually speaking about the whole issue. So in such little time, so much has taken place in this case. With the first press conference with Dominique Alexander, the activist there at New Generation, you know, telling the people that, look, this is what the Anthony family has to endure. They're getting threats along with the judge. Okay, she's getting threats because she let Karmelo go on a bond. They didn't want this kid out on bond at all. They want him to stay in jail, locked up until the trial. Okay, so, you know, we all know that everybody's entitled to a bond. Okay, and if that's granted, right, if they find that you are not a flight risk, as this child was not, 17-year-old child wasn't a flight risk, okay? He wasn't a threat to the community, no background. And they tried to dig up a background on Karmelo Anthony. I said that in one of my previous videos. Why haven't they found anything in his background if he was such a horrible kid, right? Well, they tried to put out there that it was some sort of incident that took place where Karmelo was allegedly involved, and the school handled it on the internal side of things and didn't get law enforcement involved. Therefore, that led to him not having that on the record, on his criminal record at all.
And prosecutors revealed today that Karmelo Anthony was involved in an assault-type altercation at his school on February 4th that was handled internally by the school district. Other than that, he has an unblemished record, which is probably one of the reasons why the judge agreed to lower his bond.
So you know, when they brought that up, I was like, oh, so that's what they're doing now. And they tried to find a little something on Karmelo. Then they said, well, hey, you do know those lies that were put out there, you know, even repeated by the news media, saying that Karmelo got suspended for bringing a knife to school, but it was redacted. Okay, the news station there, they redacted that statement, saying that they couldn't verify that, but it was told to them by law enforcement. So they were playing a dirty game of, you know, putting disinformation and misinformation, false information, damaging information of character, right? Defamation of this 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony's character as a young black man. And it was just disgusting to see how they was running this whole campaign as if, you know, self-defense doesn't apply to Karmelo because he's black. And they're saying that, look, you know, had Austin did this to Karmelo, and Karmelo was allegedly bullying or, you know, telling these twins, Austin and Hunter, to move. And because let's be clear. So the whole debacle is when black people use the self-defense claim, you know, as a claim in court. And why we had to take a life. It's a problem. But when a white person does it, it's no problem at all, okay? Even some people that's not even of white descent that use the self-defense claim and get off, like George Zimmerman, okay? So, you know, this is the debacle. When a black man uses the self-defense claim, look, it's a problem. It can't be self-defense. It had to be murder. This was premeditated. So this is what they're saying right now. This is the climate in America. And it has people divided. It has people, you know, on the edge. And for what? When there are other similar stories that went on, they're just not going to trial. Right? Similar stories with stabbings at a high school out there in Belton, Texas, that we don't even hear the media talking about. But now that it's time to go to court from 3 years ago when this incident happened at this Belton High School where a student stabbed another student to death. But we don't hear nothing about it. The stabber, as they call Karmelo, so the stabber in this incident at Belton, right, this white kid, stabbed a Hispanic child, killed him. No mention of that, but it's going to trial right now. We shall hear more, and now we're starting to hear. And what a coincidence! The white, you know, teen that was a teen at the time, because that white teen was 18, who ended up, you know, stabbing the 17-year-old teen to death. God rest his soul.
Got underway today for Kason Allison. He's charged with murder in the stabbing of Joe Ramirez at Belton High School back in May of 2022.
News 10's Isabella Quintanilla was in the courtroom all day today. She has more from this first day of the trial.
The 146th District Court was packed today with families, friends, witnesses, and others, all who have been waiting nearly 3 years to learn the fate of now 21-year-old Kason Allison. We first heard from the state prosecutors who are charging Kason Allison with murder, saying he was intentionally cutting and stabbing Joe Ramirez, to which Allison pleaded not guilty. His defense attorneys then gave their opening statement, implying it was self-defense. Defense attorney Zachary Boyd told the jury, quote, Kason was in the fight for his life, where he was jumped by 5 friends. We heard from 5 state witnesses today, including a 911 record custodian, the Belton ISD Director of Safety and Security, 2 teachers who saw the aftermath of the stabbing, and the school nurse. At the start of the trial, they played 5 911 calls from 2 staff members, 2 students, and a parent. In one of those calls, a girl identified Kason, claiming she saw him running through the parking lot with a bloody nose. They then played security footage from several cameras showing Joe and 3 others walking into a bathroom, Kason and another boy walking in shortly after. 5 boys, including Joe, then ran out of the bathroom and split up, with Kaysen once again running out shortly after. We also saw footage of Joe running down the main hallway, bleeding onto the floor and then collapsing. Blood immediately began to pool as teachers and staff quickly surrounded him. Many of Joe's family and friends were in tears as they watched this all play out. One witness, the first to get to Joe, said, quote, "His breathing was rapid and shallow. It appeared to me as if he had a punctured lung." Another witness, the school nurse, said they gasped when they cut open Joe's shirt, finding a gaping wound across his left chest. She also shared that a student that had been in the bathroom was brought to the nurse's office and was on the phone with his mom saying, quote, "Kaysen stabbed Joe."
3 years ago. So this child that's, should have been labeled the stabber, okay? He's 21 now. Yeah. So they waited 3 whole years for this to go to trial. And now we have this whole incident with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Now it's a black child, 17, high school, accused of stabbing white kid. Gets all the press in the world. So in a pathetic attempt to make Karmelo Anthony look like a villain or a bad guy or a troubled teen, they tried to, drum up the story about, him being a fighter and him always fighting. And they used this high school teenage girl on an interview there at the high school to do this.
While here at Centennial, students shocked about what happened, that one of their classmates could be charged with such a serious offense. One girl that we spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like, I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
So this young high school girl that they do an interview with and ask about Anthony, right? She says she knows Karmelo from fighting. But when the investigation was done in that previous clip I showed, and they spoke about, Karmelo's background, they said only one incident came up. So how could he be known for fighting? It sounds like several incidents, several fights that she's speaking of, versus when the investigation was done, they only, seen that it was one incident at that school that noted that Karmelo was involved in, but, law enforcement didn't even get involved. So how is he known for fighting? So was she making a false claim? Did she even know Karmelo, first of all? I really don't feel like she knew Karmelo. She might have been thinking when they asked her that question about a whole different student. Because that right there doesn't make sense. How can he be known for fighting if he never had more than one incident, if it was a fight during that incident that was found out about, right? So you have to look at it like that maybe that was more propaganda, to make the character of the 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony look as if, he was already a criminal, but in fact, he was not. So eventually we would start seeing that when they could no longer disseminate falsehoods about the Anthonys, that's when the media tried to resort to fabricating information falsely. Presently, the rumor circulating that the family of Karmelo Anthony had required a fully loaded Cadillac Escalade valued at $150,000. This development follows the reduction of Anthony's bond to $250,000 and his receipt of $500,000 in donations. Notably, Anthony's mother has been in possession of this Cadillac Escalade since 2023. It appears that they are unable to uncover any detrimental information about this young man, as he comes from a 2-parent household with parents who earn a substantial income. He consistently achieves good grades and has no prior criminal record, and it is challenging to believe that he was subjected to bullying due to his race while attending a predominantly white school in the Frisco School District. And that brings us to the second press conference. And the family had to go explain all these lies, these propaganda campaigns that's being ran against their name, saying they're buying new vehicles and new homes and beefing up security and this and that and this. But you know, in actuality, all this stuff was false, and it was a narrative that was put out there and that was ran with by major networks, right? Not only blog sites, but major networks, you know, reported on it. Nancy Grace, she spoke on it.
Breaking news tonight, the Texas track star stabber walks free. Walks free after a brutal stabbing of a football star. This as the victim's family is attacked. The victim's mother's home swatted. This as we learn the killer's family is set to buy a new house with donations.
Others who have big platforms on social media, they spoke on it. Now, you know, the whole thing got blown out of proportion, and now it comes back to, hey, it's a lie. These people been stayed in this house. These people been had this Escalade since 2023. Now the neighbors want these black people, the Anthony family, gone out the neighborhood all of a sudden because their son is back home, out on bond, and yes, for murder of Austin Metcalf. And people are furious. They're pissed. Like, how could this happen? Well, it's called America. It's called, you know, a process of justice. And everybody has those rights, right? Just like all the others who claim self-defense, who went home, you know, and who got a bond or things of that nature, and who were also, you know, allowed to be out until the trial started and began.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Hayes. I am the mother of Karmelo Anthony. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband worked hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give Send Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution, we believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
So this is the same, due process that's being awarded to, Karmelo Anthony and his family right now, making sure that, his civil rights are not violated. So after the mother spoke out, she spoke about how this was affecting their family, the threats, the lies, saying that they're spending the money and people ain't even checked the gifts in GoFund. The money was still in there when the lies were rolling in. How are we spending the money when you can go to the site and see that the money is still on the site? How are we spending the money? Make it make sense. See, people are just so stupid, man. People are just, so mentally challenged these days that the whole time they were saying this family was out spending the money from the donations, the money was still posted on the site and the family had no access to it. It wasn't to that same day of the press conference, I believe, that they were saying that they finally had access, that they were accepted, to start receiving the money because of the process that had to take place before getting the money from the Give, Send, Go account. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse has spoken out about this whole matter with Karmelo and Austin. And, he speaks out after being mentioned in that press conference regarding the Frisco track meet stabbing. He says, so the left thinks that what Karmelo Anthony did was self-defense, but what I did wasn't. Can someone please help this make sense? Now, this is what Kyle Rittenhouse is saying. Like, hey, man, they saying that what he did is self-defense. Why come what I did wouldn't? Now, this is what Rittenhouse, is asking social media. Now, Dominique Alexander said that this would be the last press conference that you will hear from the Anthonys until the trial. And if anything shall come up, maybe, they might address something, until further notice. But, we also hear that in that press conference, you have Austin Metcalf's father, Jeffrey Metcalf, showing up and, with a stone cold look on his face, just observing and analyzing, the Anthonys. And I'm guessing Mr. Dominique Alexander himself was also getting sized up by old Jeff Metcalf. And he walked in there looking like RoboCop with that sling on his arm and elbow. Yeah, had his glasses on. Yeah, man, he had that look in his eye, even though you couldn't see his, his natural eye. You could see those eyes through those sunglasses. That's right. And Jeffrey Metcalf wasn't invited, but, he chose to show up to the family, of the killer, right, at this press conference and be close to them. Now, nobody knows why Jeffrey wanted to be close, to the Anthonys. That right there is kind of dangerous. Now, this is the thing. Jeffrey Metcalf shows up to this press conference knowing that the son of the Anthonys, right, Karmelo, can't be around the Metcalfs. That'd be a violation of his bond. So why is Jeffrey Metcalf coming to where a press conference is taking place where, Karmelo's family is at? This is not making sense here. Why would, you, sir, Mr. Metcalf, come around Karmelo's family? We don't know if you got a weapon on you. You might have some ill will harbored towards the Anthonys and want to do harm. How do we know, right, what your true intentions is, sir? Even though you said you forgive Karmelo and this and that and that and this, right? That stone cold look on Jeffrey Metcalf's face was very chilling and it's very telling where his mind is at, you guys, because something's definitely off about old Jeffrey. And, the news isn't, covering the Metcalfs like everybody else is. And they're saying that charge that Jeffrey has, they're saying, look, this is not Jeffrey. Look, man, allegedly, this is what they're saying, okay? That charge belongs to Jeffrey Metcalf. I don't know, the specifics of the matter, okay? But allegedly, that SA charge that, they're saying that the media isn't exposing about Austin Metcalf's father, all right? They're saying, yes, this is, real, true information. And, hey, take it for, from what it is. It's alleged. You have the people that are saying, well, he has a right to be there. He's the father of Austin. If anybody should be there, it should be Jeffrey.
Hello, everyone. We are about to approach and get started in a few minutes. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. We ask that y'all do not follow them. Together. If we can swing over here and swing across the wall, we have security that are here in the building. We have a blended of Dallas Police Department and security for the Next Generation Action Network. Let me make this very clear because I say this unapologetically. The Next Generation Action Network has never played with the safety and security of anything. We don't play those type of games, all right? We like to, whenever we're doing a protest or anything, everybody in the media know we don't play when it comes to safety and security. So we're gonna ask one time for it, and ask you to slide over just one time. We're not gonna ask anybody something twice, okay? I will make sure that the safety of this family is ensured. It won't happen on my watch. I just want you to know so that you can quote it. If we have to ask more than once, just know that's coming at the direction of me. You can quote me on it, all right? What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, of the father being at this press conference, these are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And as a minister, I will not attack a grieving family, even if I disagree with them. When I have stood before this podium for people who have died at the hands of law enforcement, I have asked for that same manner of respect. And even when the shoe is on the other foot, I will not do that. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. Who is not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family. But he did. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has fell into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting non-stop about this case. It is outright disrespectful. We haven't been doing it. The Next Generation Action Network has been here, popular and unpopular. So regardless of what's going on, that was disrespectful. Disrespectful. And I will leave it to y'all to define it. But of course we want to.
The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
He was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
Jeff Metcalf said nothing. He just stood and waited. The group hosting this told him to leave, or they'd call Dallas police. Jeff Metcalf was escorted out by DPD before the family arrived to speak. Ultimately, it was not a court order that made him leave, but because the owner of the building said he was trespassing. Metcalf shook hands with officers and then left.
Why come we couldn't hear what the family had to say from home? You know, I mean, why did he have to come, inject himself at the press conference and make a spectacle of himself, basically, because that's exactly what ended up happening with him being removed, by the owner of the building, as was said in that clip I played, right? According to reports, the people who owned that building had Jeffrey Metcalf removed from their property, right? So not only was it for the safety of the family, but it was for, security reasons as well. Now, after Jeff Metcalf was kicked out of that press conference, it was breaking news of a swatting call that was made, that Thursday to an address involving the family of the Frisco teenager who was fatally stabbed at a track meet earlier that month. And police confirmed to the Dallas Morning News this information. And Frisco police said that officers responded earlier in the evening to a gunshot call. It was addressed to the Austin Metcalf's family house. Wow. God. Now, this swatting call occurred at Jeffrey Metcalf's address because, of course, Austin Metcalf's parents, they're not together no more, so it's two separate households he was bouncing back and forth from, and they swatted Jeffrey, the father's house. It says this: a home connected to the family whose 17-year-old son, Austin Metcalf, was fatally stabbed at a Frisco track meet was swatted Thursday evening. Frisco PD said the officers responded to a gunshot call at an address which turned out to be the home of Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's father. WFAA confirmed. Metcalf told WFAA nobody was home at the time, but he arrived 5 minutes later. So if you don't know what this thing of swatting is, it's saying it's a term used when fake threats are called into authorities with the express purpose of drumming up a large police response. Police also confirmed to WFAA that the home of Megan Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's mother, was swatted on the night of April 8th. Wow, so at this point we have both of the Metcalf's homes, the mother and the father. Like I said, they're separated. home swatted at this point. That's nasty work, you guys. The news comes after Metcalf showed up to a press conference hosted by the parents of Karmelo Anthony, the teen accused of stabbing Metcalf's son. The press conference was delayed about 50 minutes as a result. And it's just because Jeff Metcalf showed up, right? They tried to get him out of there before the whole press conference started. And the police escorted Metcalf out of the building without incident. At the press conference, Anthony's mother said that her family has been the target of harassment, threats, and lies. Anthony was released from jail on Monday after posting bond. Judge Angela Tucker earlier in the day decided to significantly reduce Anthony's bond amount from $1 million to $250,000.
Follow baby behind us. Just stay close, okay?
Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Karmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
Karmelo,
is there anything
you want to say to the community that's donated?
Now, I had to slow it down and show y'all that very creepy, demonic, satanic posture and look that lady, that reporter, she had on her face when Karmelo got in that Suburban, right? I mean, it was very creepy how she was under-eyed looking at Karmelo, and like she was possessed of some sort with evil at that time when she was trying to ask that question that he dodged. Karmelo didn't say nothing. When she said, "Hey, why did you have a weapon at school?" Karmelo never answered, leaving her with this perturbed, evil look on her face. And that was very, very creepy. Now, in recent news, they're saying that Austin Metcalf's father, Jeffrey Metcalf, right, has addressed this white racist supremacist, that's using his son, Austin Metcalf, as a poster board, as some type of, racist campaign that he's driving there in Frisco, Texas, all right, and protect white people movement that this guy, Jake Lang, as they call him, all right, and Austin Metcalf's father, Jeffrey Metcalf, isn't feeling it, you guys. And hey, man, it kind of make me look at, this situation a little bit different now, because Jeffrey Metcalf has also, from the jump, he's also, been saying that this is, not about race. It's about humans. It's about us as a human being race needing to learn how to, deal with each other and get along with each other, right? And he never wanted this to be a racial or political thing from the jump. So now he's doubling down, since this white racist supremacist bigot is pushing this racial rhetoric out there in the atmosphere, using his son Austin as a platform to do it, right? And Jeffrey Metcalf said he's not standing with this guy Jake Lang.
would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today. Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem. You've been submitted.
Hold on, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir.
You're not gonna make us back down.
If we were all of your nature,
guys, listen.
You're not gonna say
what a weak man.
Do you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with black males winning.
Google that.
But they're not winning right now.
What you're doing,
they're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing
and murdering white people.
You're not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. Being
silent is not helping. You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you? Did you stand for your country?
So you think that made you patriot because you showed up there? Does that make you a patriot?
Joe Biden
you showed up.
All you're doing is condemning us. What's your solution?
My solution is to help people where they're weak. So we have an issue in young black males' lives across the country.
It's not say that to Jeff Metcalf.
Say that to Jeff Metcalf.
We talk about it, man.
Say it.
At the end of the day, the man is asking. So let me ask you this: you got a father who's grieving, and your response is he's weak.
My father is celebrating my strength right now.
You have no idea. You'll never win the Senate. And what I'll do, I'll come to Florida and run for Senate and run as a Republican, and I'll kick your butt.
No, you lose, bro.
You need 2 years of presidency in Florida.
Because this behavior is why we're in the situation where we are.
No.
We get these. Is that what it is? Okay. Well, at the end of the day, he's asked you what to do and what not to do.
Listen,
you have a right to do it or not do it.
You can say not talk about Austin Metcalf, but we're gonna continue this movement.
I love somebody.
You love the thought of using Austin for T-shirts, for propaganda, and to get out here and talk about
you want to shut down a white man right now.
I'll shut you down.
You're not shutting me down.
I'm not raising money like Karmelo
because I got
Anthony.
family.
I'm not raising money like
put down anymore. No, bro, you stop. You came here to try to shut him down.
No, I came here to give him a message from a father.
And listen,
but I realized that's not his deal.
Let's be honest. You're a black man trying to shut him down.
You know, just to catch up to speed with Jake Lang, he's the guy who was one of the people who was caught up in the January 6th riots and protests up there at the White House, okay, that led to his arrest and imprisonment for 4 years, okay? And now he's out of prison and he's pushing this racial white racist agenda. Now it's no surprise that Jake Lang, he has this black guy that he calls his brother, Philip Anderson, I think that's his name that he called. He's going along with this whole agenda of protect white people, this black guy. And notice how they always use a black guy for these types of situations and events when they're doing these things. They have black people show up and, you know, support them. And, you know, this is something that, you know, a lot of black people, you know, they indulge in when it comes time to, you know, degrade their own race, you know, put down their own people, you know, take the chance at kicking their own when they're down, right? Or at least when it seems like they're taking advantage of their people being down. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, this guy said a lot of things that, you know, that would be similar to a Charleston White. He just didn't say it in, you know, the way that a Charleston White would say it. You know, he said it more of a, you know, conservative and, you know, passive way. Okay, put it like that. And yeah, man, it's just shocking to see that this black guy has the same views, or it's hard to believe that he really has the same views to protect white people, you know, more than his own race of black people. You know, so I mean, I guess, man. I mean, anything is possible.
Another reason we're at this protest today
All these people that agree with us, but they're in their cars right now because they're afraid to be seen on camera, because they're afraid that they'll lose their jobs. They're afraid that someone will come to their home. That is another reason why we are here today. So when you tell me that white people are not the main victim of racism, that white people are not oppressed, not being put down, then tell me why they're having to hide in their cars right now. Tell me why they can't even talk to you, journalists, right now. Tell me why they can't even talk to the journalists. Tell me why they can't even come talk to you right now. Because they're afraid. Because the people right there, they're coming to counter protest, but really disrupt, they're bullies and they're the racists. Another reason why we're here today and why we're not going to stop. We're going to keep pushing this issue. There's nothing you can do to stop us. Doesn't matter what you call us. Doesn't matter if you try to stop us. Nothing you can do to stop us, because this has been an issue for my entire life, for my white family members and my white friends, where they've been put down, they've been treated like trash just because they're white. And there's so many people say, oh, it's not true, it's not true. It is true. I see it day after day, month after month, year after year, and I'm tired of the anti-white racism. I'm tired of the anti-white hate. I'm tired of the anti-white violence. I will stand on top of a damn bus and scream that we are going to end this shit right now.
The only reason why he's not in jail right now is because he's a young black man. If he was a white man, an Hispanic man, any other race, he'd be in jail right now. You better believe you stab someone, you're not getting out of jail. But he's let out of jail because of them. And that's the true racism. The racism of low expectations. It's okay that black people are killing so many white people. It's okay because, it's normal. It's not normal, actually, to kill people. It's not normal, actually, to kill a child.
Thank you. That's my brother, Philip Anderson. Philip Anderson is a January 6th patriot and hero that stood shoulder to shoulder with me at the Capitol. Here we are again, 90 days after getting pardoned. 90 days standing again. Those who are fearful in the audience and in the crowd to stand. I did 4 years and 6 days incarcerated, mostly in the DC gulag. I was never offered bond.
What were they looking to gain from doing this? This black guy, Philip Anderson, and this white guy, Jake Lang. What were they looking to gain from, advocating for Austin Metcalf at the same, facility where he lost his life at, right? That same track. Now, in a short clip that was uploaded to his social media, Jake Lang showed that he went to the David Kuykendall Stadium and insinuated as if he was breaking in. Didn't see nobody there that day, and it seemed like he was by himself. And he was showing that, it was allegedly to be remnants of the DNA, right? The BLOOD of Austin Metcalf left behind after this incident, supposedly still there at the scene. So this is what, Jake Lang was showing his audience in this video. So it was very telling that if this is true, that's crazy that this right here was never cleaned up after the fact. But yeah, man, it's very unfortunate if this is to be true.
There's the blood stain. There is the blood stain. It's red still. Austin Metcalf's blood. Lord Jesus, help us. It's crying out for justice. His killer is home right now. There's the stain. Oh my God. Lord Jesus, help us. That's Austin Metcalf's blood. That is Austin Metcalf's blood. Lord Jesus, help us. Oh, my heart is racing. This is exactly where the tent was. Still red. I gotta get out of here before the police come. I just hopped the fence to get in here. His blood is crying out for justice. We need that killer behind bars. We will not rest. We need to protect white Americans. This scourge of black violence is too much. Okay, Kendall Stadium. We need to uplift our communities. I gotta get out of here, guys. I think I hear the cops coming.
Now, it was a couple of incidents that, occurred there at that White Lives Matter protest in the memory of Austin Metcalf at David Kuykendall Stadium. And, it wasn't nothing too major, just a couple of scuffles and misunderstandings. And we have the owner of this movement, Protect White People, right? Jake Lang, along with his black sidekick, Philip Anderson, right? They're out here kicking up dust, and, people didn't seem to like that, that they were there, and they were telling these guys to go back to Florida, where they were from. But I think Jake said that Philip was from Texas, if I'm not mistaken, and Jake is from Florida. But yeah, they were telling Jake to go back to Florida with his bus and, his protesting and things of that nature. But yeah, man, this was very eye-opening that, Jeffrey Metcalf was not going along with this whole ordeal of protecting white folk in this movement that Jeff Lang had going on, with a black guy or not, right? Jeff Metcalf wasn't falling for the bait, you guys. So I commend Jeff for that, and that also let me know, beyond the, him showing up to the press conference, this is another trait of his character that's showing that, hey, like he said, it's not about race, and he doesn't want his son's legacy and memory to be attached to something racial and political. So you have to give it to old Jeffrey Metcalf, is that, he stood on business. Now, they switch up on their own people too, real quick, right? Because, Jake Lang got on the phone. Oh, yeah, hey, how's it going, Mr. Metcalf? And yeah, we standing for Austin. And hey, Austin was a good kid. And yeah, man, we want to stand behind this and make sure somebody gets locked up. And Jeffrey Metcalf was like, hey, hold on, it's my turn to talk now, right? Are you listening? Jake Lang was like, yeah, I hear you.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do.
Jeffrey was like, you're the fucking problem. That's right. People like you are the fucking problem. And, that's when old Jeff Metcalf goes off on Jake Lang. And Jake Lang proceeds to listen. And then he, sums it up with that, Austin Metcalf's father, Jeffrey Metcalf, is weak. He says that Jeffrey Metcalf is weak because Jeffrey Metcalf won't stand up for his son, right? And start a race war, pretty much. That's what he wants, okay? This is, my analysis. So allegedly, that's, what I get from, Jeffrey not wanting to, get into this political or this, racial thing with Jake Lang and his movement with Protect White People. Jeffrey Metcalf is saying, look, I don't want to meet with you. I don't want to sit with you. I don't share the same ideologies as you. Beliefs or none of that, right? And yeah, man, so it's crazy that the alleged white supremacist got mad, right? The white supremacist ideologies, right? It's an idea that he has. Okay, he might not be a white supremacist, but he has white supremacist ideas, definitely, from what I gather. Okay. And yeah, man, Jake Lang, I don't know, man. It's not looking good at all because the movement, right, this Protect White People movement that he had a low turnout, and pretty sure that we won't see too many more of those in the future. But all of a sudden, since everybody's focused on the Karmelo Anthony case, Aiden Ross has a perception, he has a opinion, he has a thought to give to his people, as if, well, why is he even free at all? Because, hey, it's a system where they have bond, sir, right? You have bail bond. If you was to do something, Aiden Ross, if you was to, unfortunately have to unalive somebody, right, and have to defend yourself in a court of law, you too will have a right to have a bond if you're not a flight risk or, a threat to the community. So what are we talking about here? So Aiden Ross is just another person that's perpetuating the hate for Karmelo Anthony being able to have rights and be out on bond, like is his right, because he paid the bond that was set by the courts. That's how it works. I mean, it doesn't matter how, the perception of a streamer, like Aiden Ross thinks that it should be. No, it's not how Aiden Ross thinks life should be. Life is life, okay? And then Aiden Ross became a streamer and started talking about life, but doesn't want to face the facts that, hey, this is Karmelo's right as much as it was the PDF file's right to, get a bond and be out, until their trial starts for messing with little children. So, I mean, hey, what are we talking about, Aiden Ross? You don't have a point, bucko. You really have nothing. Okay, you're just trying to drum up more division. You're just trying to drum up more hatred. Okay, for the darker skinned, pigmented, melanated people. All right, with this situation. So this is what I get from this whole situation of Aiden Ross commenting about the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf situation. Now, Aiden Ross also said, tell your teachers or parents if you're getting bullied, right? Now, he made that statement as if, Karmelo and Austin knew each other. See, the facts are out. They didn't know each other till had already been previously bullied anywhere. So if they didn't know each other, no previous bully attempts occurred until, Austin tried to bully him on the spot. This is what this is about. It's not about being previously bullied because they didn't know each other to had a bullying situation before. Okay? So the bullying situation only occurred when they first met. Let's be clear about that. Okay? A lot of people are confused about the bullying situation when people are saying, he tried to bully, right, Karmelo Anthony out of the seat where he was sitting under the tent. That's a bullying situation. We're not talking about they knew each other previously and they had tension already and, from previous situations, because that's false. They never knew each other before this situation. That's the facts. So I don't understand why people don't understand, why it can't comprehend that, the bullying situation occurred right then, the first time that they met with, the Austin and Hunter twins. They tried to bully, right, Karmelo from under the tent. Do we understand now? It's not hard to understand, but a lot of people are making it, rocket science or something. It's like, no, they never knew each other. The bullying situation happened when they first met. Bullying situations happen a lot of time when people first meet. It's different, situations where people never knew each other and get into altercations where, things like this happen. So, this is not the first time and it definitely won't be the last. So as of now, with seeing the Casey Allison case and trial just now kicking off from almost 3 years ago, 2022, where, Casey was alleged to have, stabbed Joe, another student there in the restroom during a fight, right? During a brawl. And how long would this case, this, Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case, take to go to trial? Because it seems as if, 2-3 years is normal when these type of, cases are going on. So even with all the facts out there and the family doing 2 different press conferences and, the activist, Dominic Alexander, setting a point clear numerous amounts of times, people are still reporting mis and disinformation regarding Karmelo Anthony's family, right? And it's just ridiculous at this point. It's redundant. When are they going to realize that we see exactly what's going on here? And we know for a fact that Karmelo and his family isn't getting any type of sympathy as far as if, anybody else would have played self-defense, right? Being a white guy, okay, that was defending himself against a black person, per se. how would this thing be looked at, right? But since it's Karmelo using his and invoking his right to say, hey, it's self-defense. I told him don't touch me. He still did it, right? I told him touch me and see what happens. Punch me and see what happens. He did all those things, allegedly. And this is the outcome of that whole situation. So to be clear, it wasn't a thing of past bullying issue between Karmelo Anthony, who went to a different high school than the Metcalf twins. No. This was instantaneously. This was a situation that occurred where, somebody tried to tell somebody what to do, and that person refused to do what, these people told him to do, right? He didn't know these people. That, situation just occurred out the blue between strangers. And this is how it turned out. So don't be bamboozled. Don't be fooled into thinking that, these teenagers knew each other, because the facts are out that Austin Metcalf and Hunter Metcalf did not know Karmelo Anthony. Now, another issue that's being, talked about is, will Karmelo be able to graduate? Because, he is a senior and they're denying him access to the campus, being able to walk the stage and everything else with his other peers, his classmates, right, during his graduation this year. So, they're trying to fight for his rights to do that, being that this case isn't, actually filed as, like an indictment yet. So I'm thinking they're saying, since it's not, being looked at as an indictment, only a charge, they're trying to get him to graduate on time here in May, when school, has the graduation services as well. So y'all get in the comment section and y'all let me know what y'all think about this. And until the next time, this is OG Jucario TV with the latest in rap, hip hop, celebrity, and urban news. You're watching the Rundown Podcast. I appreciate everybody for spending with me. I appreciate all my subscribers for sliding with your boy every time. And say, hey man, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and look, turn on post notification so we can slide whenever I get the drop. You already know what it is, man. It's deeper than Buddha, you hear me? And guess what? I'm gone.